So, what is the underwriting process? My name is Sita Mbuya, multifamily investor and consultant. In this video, I'm going to talk about what the multifamily underwriting process is like. Just give a very high level overview of what it is. So, let's get into it. So, multifamily underwriting is essentially the process of analyzing an investment property. Basically, you want to see what kind of returns you can get. You want to see what offer price you should be offering and just what the property, how it performed given all of the different inputs. So, typically involves a very extensive spreadsheet for a multifamily, any type of commercial deal. Typically, it's going to have several different tabs that have a lot of formulas and a lot of calculations. And then there's going to be inputs where you basically take all of your different parameters that'll affect the returns. You'll take what the offer price is, what kind of debt terms, the interest rate, the long term you're going to get, how long the interest only period is. You're going to see all of the different expense projections. You're typically going to analyze historical values, so like your trailing 12 document. You're going to analyze what the current rent roll is, and you're going to use those historical documents to be able to make your own projections on what you think you'll spend on expenses. You'll make projections on what kind of rent growth, what kind of rents you can get, what kind of capex, what kind of renovations you need to do on units, and what rents you can get when you do those renovations. And it's just a whole bunch of numbers, a whole bunch of research. And essentially, you put into the spreadsheet, and it works like a calculator where it'll tell you the returns at a particular offer price. So this is the actual math, the analysis that goes into making sure that you make a sound offer price decision. You don't want to look at a deal and just put out offers blind because you think it's in a good area, you think it's going to appreciate. You make sure that you actually do your due diligence, run your numbers, and have sound evidence backing all your decisions. This isn't the type of game that you can just kind of take lightly. Imagine in the residential world, if you're buying a residential property, you're buying a single family house for a rental property. Say you analyze that property or you do something a little wrong and you misproject your rents, or you project rents to be $50 over what you're actually able to achieve. Now, if you do this with a single family house, then that's a mistake. It'll affect your returns, and that's an extra $50 per month in revenue that you're not going to be able to collect. Now, take that same mistake and extrapolate it over like 200 units. That's what happens when you make the wrong decisions and use the wrong numbers and you're analyzing large multifamily projects. So it's very important that you have solid numbers, and it's actually a very iterative process, the underwriting process. So typically you have a lot of deals that are coming through. You don't want to spend as much time on every single deal if the numbers aren't going to work. So typically you'll do like just kind of some quick numbers with stuff that you already know based on your experience in the market and what you've seen on past deals. And you do the underwrite to that to see if you're close on pricing. Then you may look at it a little deeper where you go in and start doing more research on what rents you can get. You may do a little more due diligence, ask questions from the broker to verify some numbers, see where you can be aggressive in some areas, where you need to be more conservative in other areas. So it's a very iterative process, very back and forth, a lot of pulling information. And then you may go even further. Is when you're going to make an offer, you really want to have clarity and confidence in every number in your underwriting. And usually that means you have a third party corroborate any input. So you may have insurance brokers that's going to give you an insurance estimate, so you feel confident in that projection. You want your property manager to look over your expense projections, and they can compare that with the other properties that they're managing in the market, and that will allow you to have confidence in those expense projections because that's what you're seeing in that particular market. You also want to get debt quotes before you submit an offer. You want to be able to have confidence in whatever debt terms you're underwriting, that you're going to be able to get those terms, and you can do that by actually speaking to a lender and getting quotes. So it's a step-by-step process. It's very iterative, but at the end of the day, you go from having a property that you just kind of, here's what it looks like. You have this marketing package that makes everything look nice. You go from having that and raw financials to having a nice, well-planned spreadsheet that has everything in place, all your numbers, you feel confident in them, and you can make that offer with confidence because you don't want to end up retrading. So retrading is when you submit an offer on a property and you have the offer submitted, then you're working on the PSA, the purchase and sale agreement, and then you go back to the seller or you go back to the broker and say, hey, we need to reduce this price because my numbers aren't working out. That is one of the worst things you can do in the market and can really give you a bad name in a market. And the world in the commercial real estate space is very small. Word travels fast, so you don't want to go back and retrade because that can ruin your reputation and make it harder to get deals in the future. So you want to have a nice fine process that's going to really get you confidence in your numbers before you submit an offer. So underwriting is really how I got started in multifamily and commercial real estate. And I think it's one of the best places to get started because once you really understand the numbers, you understand the analysis and how everything works together, it really helps you to understand the other parts of the business. So if you got some value out of this video, you learned a little something, please go ahead and like and also subscribe. If you have any questions or you want me to dive deeper, please let me know in the comments. I'll likely do like a underwriting walkthrough or make more kind of tutorial style videos where I talk about more specifics about underwrite. But if there's anything you want to learn more about in depth, please let me know. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.